Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are taking just a truly bizarre retail moment and trying to pull apart the strategy or lack of strategy hiding right under the surface.
We're talking about November 6th, 2025. And specifically, a $29.95 glass teddy bear cup, the Barista Cold Cup.
Right, and the absolute mayhem it unleashed across North America.
It almost sounds like an exaggeration, but the reports were, well, they were real. We had a shift supervisor in Minnesota, Shannon Delgado, who gets to work at 3:00 a.m.
3 in the morning.
3 in the morning, and finds people already camped out, wrapped in blankets, in the freezing cold. And then you jump over to Houston, and by 5:15 a.m., things are so heated, police have to be called in just to manage the crowds.
Wow. All for this limited edition cup. And the key thing here, the thing that changes the whole story, is what happened next.
Instantly. The cups in stores only got, maybe 1 to 4 each? They sold out. Just gone. And within hours, they were already on the aftermarket.
And that's where it gets kind of insane. The prices on eBay and other sites didn't just double.
Oh, no. We saw them hitting hundreds of dollars almost immediately. The average is probably floating around $500, but the outliers, the listings that really show you the level of frenzy, they were reaching $50,000.
$50,000 for a coffee mug. That's not normal consumer behavior. That's the kind of devotion you see for, high-end sneakers or a luxury watch.
Exactly. And that's why we're digging into this using the analysis from Marc Abergel. He's a luxury executive over in Paris. And his take is that this whole incident was basically the most expensive retail psychology experiment of 2025.
An experiment that proves scarcity works, even for a massive brand like Starbucks. But, and this is the important part, it also proved they have absolutely no idea what to do with that power.
Right. Abergel's argument is that they just lack the architecture to manage it. He says mass brands need to learn how to, and I love this phrase, author scarcity.
Instead of just apologizing for it when things get crazy.
Exactly. So let's start where Abergel starts, which is, what actually went right. Because beneath all that chaos, Starbucks proved something huge. They proved they're what he calls a cultural nation.
Okay, a cultural nation. That sounds like a big claim for a company that sells coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Let's unpack that. What's the evidence they're playing in the same league as, say, Hermès or Chanel?
Well, look at the pillars he lays out. First, you have the constituency. Starbucks has 75 million rewards members around the world. That's not a customer list.
No, that's a following. A devoted, incentivized tribe.
It is. These are people whose daily habits are literally built around the brand. That's the foundation of sovereignty. Then you have the rituals.
And this isn't just a marketing calendar, right? We're talking about things that have become actual cultural timestamps.
Precisely. Think about Red Cup Day, or the big one, pumpkin spice latte season. The PSL isn't just a drink anymore, it's a secular liturgy. They've spent 20 years deliberately making it the official start of fall for millions of people.
When you can own a spot on the calendar, you own a piece of the culture itself.
Which builds the third pillar, emotional equity. The whole brand was built on being that third place, that little sanctuary between your home and your work. And that lets them have incredible pricing power.
Yeah, nobody needs a $7 latte. You're buying the symbol, the comfort, the ritual. It defies normal commodity logic.
And the Barista Cup itself is proof of how deep all this runs. It tapped into this huge well of nostalgia. The original plush barista mascot goes all the way back to 1997.
That's a 28-year heritage. So this wasn't some random new thing. It was like they unearthed the cultural artifact.
Right. So the people camping out at 3 in the morning, that's not just buying something. That's, as Abergel calls it, voluntary devotion. It's driven by a real deep emotional connection.
So to sum up this first part, Starbucks has all the raw materials. They have the people, the history, the premium feel. They have everything they need to operate like a true luxury house. The desire is real.
It's very real. But that intensity is exactly what exposed the catastrophic flaw in their system. The barista launch proved scarcity works, but the way they handled it meant they surrendered their sovereignty.
So what should have been a coronation?
Became a logistical disaster and a public apology. All that incredible value they created just leaked away.
Okay, let's break down those failures. Because this is really where other brands can learn. Failure number 1, and it seems like the biggest one, no choreographed access.
It was just a free-for-all. First come, first served. Think about that for a second. In the U.S. alone, they have 34 million rewards members. People who might have spent thousands of dollars there over 10 years.
And their access was the same as some random person who just showed up for the first time.
Exactly. They completely failed to reward their most loyal base. It's the absolute opposite of how luxury works.
Right. Hermès doesn't have a line outside.
Yeah.
Access is a privilege. It's curated based on your relationship with the brand, not how early you're willing to wake up.
And when you fail to choreograph access, you get failure number 2. A resale gold rush they didn't own.
Okay, let's do the math on this because it's brutal.
It really is. So if Starbucks made, say, 50,000 cups and sold them for about $30 each, they brought in around $1.5 million in revenue.
Okay, $1.5 million for the brand that created all the hype. What did the resellers make?
Conservatively, at least $5 million. And that's not even counting the cut that platforms like eBay took from every sale.
So Starbucks did all the work, created the desire, and then walked away with a fraction of the profit, while intermediaries captured 4 times as much value. Unbelievable.
They captured the cost, but they lost the value. And when you lose control of the value, you get to failure number 3. Narrative surrendered to the algorithm.
Right, the official response. That classic, weak corporate apology. Demand exceeded expectations.
That phrase is so damaging. It just screams incompetence, right? It says, this was an accident, not this is exclusive. So instead of this cool cultural moment, the story was immediately taken over
by viral TikToks of people shouting, memes about the lines, and these conspiracy theories that employees were hoarding all the cups for themselves.
They turned a marketing win into a PR crisis. A luxury brand would author the story, orchestrate a debut that builds brand equity. Starbucks just let the chaos and the apology define the moment.
And maybe the worst part, strategically, is failure number 4. No memory of who wanted it most.
Because it was a free-for-all, they have no first-party data. They have no idea who those people were camping out. They don't know who was so desperate they paid $500 on eBay.
And that data is everything. A luxury brand knows every single one of its top clients. Every person on a wait list is a relationship they can manage.
If you don't know who wants your product the most, you can't build on that desire for the future.
Yeah.
You've just given away your most valuable customer insights to the resale market.
So yeah, Starbucks learned a priceless lesson in scarcity, but they just didn't have the tools, the data, the process, the control to actually use it.
Which brings us to Abergel's playbook. This is the prescriptive part. He argues you can have both scale and desire, you just need a deliberate structure. It's called the desirability playbook.
Okay, let's get into it. 5 principles for how a mass brand can start acting like the sovereign nation it is. What's principle 1?
It's the foundation. Make scarcity explicit, not accidental. You have to shift from that vague, limited quantity stuff to what he calls transparent authored scarcity.
Why is being transparent so important? Wouldn't keeping it a secret make it seem even more rare?
Not for a mass brand, because secrecy just breeds suspicion. Abergel says you should publish the numbers, announce, we made 50,000 barista cups globally. Show how many are going to each region. Maybe even give people a real-time spot on a wait list in the app.
That immediately builds trust. It tells the customer, hey, this is legitimately rare, and your desire for it is justified.
Exactly. Which leads to principle 2. Reward loyalty, not luck. This is where those 75 million members become a real strategic asset.
And Abergel proposes that 4-phase coronation system. I find this part fascinating because it turns a simple membership into a real privilege.
It's what he calls choreographed vesting. You sequence the access, so days 1 and 2 are for the inner court.
Your top-tier customers, gold members for 10+ years.
Right, and they get it shipped directly to their house. No lines. Then days 3 and 4 are for the court gold members for 5+ years who can pick it up discreetly in store. After that, all other rewards members, and only then, on day 7, does the general public get a shot if anything's even left.
So the chaos we saw at 3.0 a.m., it never happens. You make your best customers feel seen and rewarded. But let me just push back on that for a second. Doesn't that feel a little elitist for a brand like Starbucks?
Yeah.
I mean, applying this rigid luxury hierarchy could tick off the everyday customer who just thinks the cup is cute.
And that's the tightrope you walk. But Abergel's point is you have to decide what you're selling. Is it a commodity or is it a symbol? When you sell a symbol, you have to protect its value. And the average person isn't alienated by this. They're motivated. They now see a clear path to getting that inner court status next time, which actually drives more engagement in the long run.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's talk about principle 3, which gets at the money problem. Own the aftermarket or lose your throne. We saw $5 million in value just vanish.
So you have to build a Starbucks collectibles marketplace, your own official resale site. First, that gives you immediate authenticity control, no fakes. Second, Starbucks gets to recapture some of that value, maybe taking a 15 or 20% commission.
And here's the really controversial part of that idea, price caps. He suggests capping the resale price at, say, $90. Is that even possible to enforce? And, is it fair if someone waited in line, don't they deserve to profit from that?
It's a huge question, both logistically and ethically. But from a brand strategy perspective, Abergel's view is clear. When your $30 cup is listed for 50 grand, it just makes your brand look absurd. The price cap isn't really about money, it's about protecting the brand's image. It stops the madness and signals that you care more about access than about extreme profiteering on your own stuff.
You're controlling the item's cultural afterlife, as he puts it.
Precisely. Which brings us to principle 4. Storytelling must be authored, not outsourced. You have to turn the drop into an orchestrated cultural moment, a mise en scène.
No more simple Instagram posts. You make it an event. He talks about the summons, like a 10-minute short film in the app about the design and the craftsmanship.
Yeah, you build anticipation for days. And that seems like overkill for a $30 cup.
It does, yeah. A little much.
But it's an investment in the symbolic capital. If you treat the object like it's a piece of art, your customers will too. Then the launch day is the coronation, an exclusive event at your reserve roasteries. And finally, you have the canonization, where you literally archive one of the cups, maybe donate it to MoMA or something.
When you treat a mass-produced cup with that level of reverence, you instantly elevate its perceived value for everyone. It stops being a novelty and starts feeling like, cultural heritage.
And the final piece, principle 5, is about the people on the front lines. Turn baristas into curators of desire.
Yeah, people like Shannon Delgado in Minnesota. They were just thrown to the wolves. They were accused of hoarding stock when they should have been treated like diplomats.
It's the ultimate failure. They sent their people into a riot with nothing but an apron. They need a proper collectible launch protocol. They need scripts to explain the scarcity. They need QR codes for a digital waitlist instead of a physical mob.
And they need to be recognized. I love the idea of giving them an exclusive numbered barista pin that only staff can get. It brings them inside the collectible culture, instead of leaving them outside to face the anger.
Ultimately, this whole mess revealed both the incredible value and the incredible vulnerability of the Starbucks brand. They have all the pieces of a cultural nation, the members, the app, the history. They just need the conviction to actually manage the desire they create, with the same precision that a luxury house does.
So looking bigger picture, this isn't just a Starbucks problem, is it? This choice between chaos and control is something every mass brand is facing now.
Absolutely. Nike deals with it constantly with their SNKRS app, and so much value still leaks to StockX. We see it with Trader Joe's and their tote bags, Target and the Stanley Cup craze. They all keep discovering that scarcity works, but they're all missing that sovereign infrastructure to actually manage it.
The bottom line is, authored scarcity reinforces your brand, but accidental chaos just erodes it.
It does. We're so often focused on the product itself, the perfect espresso or the perfect design. But the brands that truly last, the ones that defy logic and command premium prices, they're the ones that steward desire with surgical precision.
Which leaves a pretty big question for everyone listening. What valuable scarcity are you accidentally giving away in your own business or your own field? Something to think about next time you're debating the true cost of that $7 latte.